course they do.
Oh.
Did they give a timeline, Patsy, when they thought they might?
I don't think so. A couple of months or something.
We might. I understand what Patsy's saying because I talked to the person who does our taxes, county prints our taxes, and she said that the state hasn't even caught up to this as far as writing a program because that's where they generate their taxes is through a state program. So I understand what she's saying, that it would be nice if everybody's was comparable, but I don't know.
Okay.
You
Alright,
know,
well,
so that we're not 10 and that Harry's not, you know what I mean, 4.5% and stuff like that. I think that's probably what they were.
because it's going to be really hard to do the taxes.
Tax
if they're all
bills.
different.
I feel comfortable with this.
All right, what time is it? Do you have an official time?
6:59.
Just another minute, and then we'll get cracking. Everybody's so quiet tonight.
It's the full moon.
It is. It's shining right.
But it's cold. It looks so cold up there. And it is cold, but it's like.
But we were just talking daylight savings this Sunday. Spring is coming.
And are we supposed to get a big snowstorm this weekend?
Are we?
Not anymore?
Oh.
Saturday.
Nick is totally on top of that.
I think it's Monday, Tuesday now.
Oh.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that.
Well, that's no good.
Not anything.
Didn't they say though it's about the level? Yeah, it's not gonna.
I hadn't heard anything about it. My husband was whining about it. I was
We're not
Well,
gonna-
anything that
we're not
happens is
do
gonna
that.
melt.
You're gonna need a little insulating blanket for those tree roots on Main Street.
Yeah, maybe don't start taking the roots.
No, there's a section of curb that disappeared.
There's a section of what?
Curb.
Yeah, I almost have a bruise on my forehead from the
It's
steering wheel.
rusty.
All right, well, why don't we all stand for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
In the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody catches up. There's a bathroom room there. Okay. Not only is it daylight savings time, but it's also Shamrock Shake time at McDonald's. I look forward to that every year. They're so good. All right, but that has nothing to do with village policy or anything, so we'll get right to it. Could I get a motion to approve the board minutes of February 6th and February 27th of 2023?
So,
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, before we move on, you might be wondering, who is that gentleman sitting at the table with the board? This is Fred Moss. He's our new village attorney. Do you want to just introduce yourself to everybody? Give them a little bit of a...
I'm Fred Moss. I'm the new village attorney. I'm from Cobleskill, where I was born and raised. Then left for college, went all over the place. And last year, about a year ago, I bought a place up in Richmondville near our family tree farm. And I love it there so much, I'm spending all my time there. So I figured, what the heck? They need an attorney here in Middleburgh. I'm here for it.
Well, we're very grateful.
Yes.
Yes. It's already diving right in and getting all kinds of things in order. All right, we will continue on to number 4 on the agenda, continue our ethics committee appointment discussion. And we had a brief discussion today about the differences between boards and committees, and so there may be some things that we need to update when we take a deep dive into what our current rules and regs say about the ethics committee, whether it's a committee or a board or what have you. So that we need to take a deeper dive into, but tonight, we wanted to announce to everybody who our committee appointments are. So we have Tom Gruning will be serving as the chair of the Ethics Committee. Teresa Norfolk is a new member to the Ethics Committee. She has agreed to jump on. Charles Ingram is a returning member of the Ethics Committee, and alternate will be Charlie Rosamowski. So that's our slate of folks, and we had discussed had a discussion on whether or not there should be a member of the board appointed to that committee. But I don't know how I feel about that. I think it should be an independent committee, because what if you're, I don't know, the mayor and you're sitting in that board and you're brought before the ethics committee, you know, like it would create a lot of friction, or be a total conflict of interest in my mind. Now, I don't know legally if that's true, but I was just wondering how everybody else kind of feels about that and what we think we should do. So we're talking about it.
I agree. I think it should be.
I just think it's undue influence that they should have to
Right, exactly, because that's what you want, is their opinion. That's why you ask them, and I think it's great that it's made up of local community members. I think that's the way we should, unless you can think of anything legally correct that would.
How would you feel if someone other than a trustee, it doesn't have to be a trustee, is on the board? And employee, it says they have to be a board member. They're not a voting board member too. That makes sense. I think there's a number of ways you might want to skip that cap.
Okay, all right.
I think there may be some value in bringing it within that section. It's 808 of general municipal law.
Okay,
Make it an official ethics board,
okay.
but I totally with you. Problem is, it's such a small board. It's only 3 members that someone from this board that.
Right, exactly. And so that's all part of the greater discussion that we have to have. But for now, I would like to appoint the folks that I just mentioned to the committee. Are there any objections to that? Can I get a motion to approve?
No, I mean, we need a second. You made the motion.
Yeah. So can I get a second? All in favor?
And
Okay. And what time is it now? It's not quite 7:15, so we could maybe just start it now. 7:10, is it? What time is it? 7:07. Okay, 7:07. We'll open the public hearing for local law number 1, which deals with the enactment of the property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. We have touched upon it, and so tonight we'd like to open up the floor for members of the public that might have something that they'd like to say about that, in favor or not in favor. And we'll keep that open for the next 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes. And that, and then I'd also at this time like to open the public hearing to discuss CDBG, the grant for the wastewater treatment plant project. This is our second public hearing in regard to that. We're, for grant purposes, we're supposed to have public comment on the grants, and so this is the second in the series for folks to speak up about the wastewater treatment plant, to discuss the CDBG funding or any questions that they might have. So we'll leave that open. We'll leave both open till around 7:30, I guess. Discussion, and I want to bump back up to number 2, the mayor's debrief. I really don't have one because we didn't have a copy with the mayor this week. I didn't have any feedback from anyone because of the weather, so it was canceled. So I really don't have anything to bring anybody up to speed on, so we'll move right into the discussion on the handicap lift. We have 2 out of 3 estimates for that. Northeast Mobility came in at $12,925. National Seating came out and took a look, and we got a bid from them for $11,940. We have, and now this does not include the engineering, this is just for the lift, so that's a total other animal. And we have how much set aside, Mel? Was it 50,000?
There's 50 in the savings account.
Okay, in the savings account that we have earmarked for quite a number of years now to go to that, towards that project. So I just want you and everybody to know that that's just the cost for the lift. And Delaware, once we figure out who we're going with and what they have, they'll engineer plans to be able to install that correctly.
And this will take place when the building renovation.
Yes, during the building repairs, I mean, which makes total sense. This whole side is gonna be opened up anyway, so we're just waiting on, did he get back to you, Mel, the guy that called? Okay, yeah,
Nothing.
he it was kind of hard to get him to come out here. He kept saying, well, just, tell me, I can tell you over the phone. And I said, but we need something in writing. We need a bid, it's for a municipality, so I need to circle back around. That's on that. And now we'll move into the Preservation League of New York State. That's on the agenda, but I read through the documentation and I can't figure out what it is that they want us to discuss or do. If anybody had a chance to read it. Right now, there are tax exemptions in place that are due to expire in December of 2024. They would like to extend that tax credit to expire on 2034. And, they're urging the Senate and the Assembly to include it in their budget. But it doesn't really spell out what they would like us to do.
Right.
So,
Doesn't seem like it really applies to anything in the village. either.
no,
It's really focused on where historic resilience are like $50 million for costs.
yeah. And, we really don't have, I don't think, any buildings in the village that are worth $50 million that would fall under, the type of exemptions that they're talking about.
It also says buildings that have been vacant for 10 and 15 years.
Yeah.
Right, which, thank goodness, I don't think we have very many of those, so we're lucky, especially after the flood. Right, anything anybody else wants to add? There's really not a whole lot to discuss on that one. Amanda, New York class.
Yep, so this basically came up when Tim and I went to a Middleburgh town meeting. Seems like a no-brainer. A lot of the local municipalities are doing it as well. I think the Board of Ed is also enrolled in this as well. But basically, it is an incentive to kind of move some money that is basically just sitting and not generating anything to an account run by this New York class initiative, and you can grow interest on it. So they said that, you could invest and sometimes, depending on how much you put in, you can get up to $3,000 a month just based on the investment. So kind of seems like a no-brainer. I haven't reached out to the contact yet because I just wanted to run it by you guys first. But the town's doing it. They seemed like they're happy with it. I think it was an easy, smooth process. I believe Sharon Springs is enrolled.
Village of Scary.
Yes, Harry, Skill, and along with the school board, I believe they're enrolled as well. So just wanted to put it out there that it's something that we should consider.
No, absolutely, as long as there aren't any legal conflicts. I know
Right.
Mel and I had a discussion about that too. This was going back a few years, I talked about, was it with the cemetery perpetual fund, about maybe investing some of that money, but we found out that you can invest the interest, but you can't invest the principal. So as long as we're not doing
Right.
anything
Yep.
outside the law, but it seems like every municipality.
Right, yeah, so I can get more information once I contact the actual person, but I just wanted to kind of get everyone's approval before I went ahead and made any phone calls.
if there's a legal way for us to make more money.
Right.
I'm in favor.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Mel?
The only thing I have, Amanda, is to inquire, is our money insured?
Would we be, changing all our funds?
No.
Just whatever.
It's
We-
whatever you
yeah,
choose to
okay.
move. Yeah, it doesn't have to be everything. It's whatever you would designate that you wanted to move.
Nice. What was the interest rate on this?
As of last week, it was like 4.7%.
Yeah, which is really
So-
good. Thank you.
Yep.
It's bringing that to our attention, Amanda. Number 10, discussion on the sewer debt redemption charge increase. We need to schedule a public hearing on that. It's, we've been talking about for several years now, hike in the sewer redemption rates are a reality now. So we need to schedule a public hearing just so that everybody understands that their bills are going to be going up, unfortunately. So, Mel, do you have anything you want to add to that?
We signed the bond for the bond, so the rates will just go into effect for May,
Okay,
so that we can cover next year's payment.
okay,
We pay it 2 interest payments a year and then 1 principal payment a year for the next 38 years.
okay. So what are folks on the system looking at? How much of an increase is that?
It's 50, it looks like $50 per quarter. It will
Okay.
increase from
So
what it
that's
is now.
an additional $200 a year for folks that are currently connected. with-
And the more, like Carver's is building 8 more houses, then it'll get redivided out and spread out equally between everyone. So I am,
Right, and that's the way it works. The more people that you have on the system,
we have 223 on the system
right,
right now.
which is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Tim, do you want to add to that?
We did resubmit this afternoon to Congresswoman Stefanik, Senator Jill Grant, Majority Leader Schumer, trying to get that earmark back in place so that we can pay off the balance of the wastewater treatment plant bond, which is the reason why the sewer rates are going up in the first place, because we have to do this necessary state mandated work to bring our sewer plant into compliance, after flood waters, after lease deterioration, and now the pipers come in terms of the bill. So we had gotten an earmark last year that fully paid it off, but we lost it. Antonio Delgado was appointed lieutenant governor, so hopefully we can convince one of the representatives to do it again, and they don't leave office. So that,
That's the key.
yes. But yeah, so that's the whole.
So we'll see, and Tim, you anticipate probably hearing
End of March.
end of March. Okay, so the end of this month we'll know. Fingers, eyes crossed, and body part crossed on that one. All right, so we got an email today from Tim Morris, who is doing some research on the emerald ash borer. And they are very, very destructive to ash trees. And if you don't know what an ash tree is, they're the trees that line Main Street. And so what he would like to do is to put up a monitoring system, he said, what, for about a month or so in the park that would test for these insects. And they're doing research now into releasing insects that prey on these insects. So they're going to do some research on that in Timothy Murphy Park. So I just wanted to see how folks felt about that and whether you think it's something that we should okay.
See why not?
Yeah, I think, knowledge is a good thing, so.
Yeah.
It is an independent, it's a college, he's going for his PhD student. Pass around.
It says that sampling will be conducted for the passive deployment of 2 sentinel logs. No new insects will be introduced to the environment, and sampling will have very little to no impact on the park or park patrons. The logs will serve as a microcosm of the tree, allowing you to tell what insects might be interacting with the larger tree without the need for destructive sampling.
And there's a picture, I don't know if people can see it, of how big that is. I mean, it's not that big. So.
motion to approve it.
I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Chief Gregory.
What?
What?
Oh,
Cheapers.
Well, as you know, the kitchen, women finally put on a meal back there for the Chiefs Association. And they have just, as far as I know, an issue with our hood. And hopefully that will be taken care of very shortly. And the past couple months, we've had some structure fires in the town. We've had a mutual aid fire up in Hunter's Land, which was devastating to that family. And we've got 3 firemen that are taking an officer's training to become officers of the department in the future. And that's about all I've got for right now.
That's
And
great.
if you have any more questions, talk them out.
To me,
Yeah, nice try. If you can hide behind that mustache.
I know nothing.
Lloyd isn't here. Last official meeting. No, actually.
They're doing a ton of inspections.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, unless if you guys, if you talk to him or I haven't had it.
we did get that code enforcement software.
Good, yes, I know we signed off on it, so we have it,
So I
actually.
don't know if we have it, but
Yes.
just to let folks know that we had a demonstration done.
Right.
For you code enforcement officer software, and everything was good on it, so.
It's a fairly easy program and it feels, well, it's, and the 2 folks, you're good with it, okay, super. All right, Nick, what you got?
I don't really have a whole lot. Streets, we've been doing a lot of snow removal. We've had a couple little storms and a significant storm since last month. Haven't had any real issues as far as that goes, so that's been a plus. We've been able to get the roads cleaned and Main Street cleaned in the same day most times. So that's always a plus to get both things done at once and make everybody happy and the business is happy. We need to, coming into spring and stuff like that, we need to start doing kind of an inventory of the roads and what we're gonna be using CHIPS funding on this year. I know last year we went hardcore on the sidewalks, which kind of left a little bit of road repair that we should have done, kind of, in the breeze. So this year I really want to spearhead, I want to have somebody come out from Gorman and from Sucote to kind of do an inventory on our roads and see what ones should be done, what I know needs to be done, and just to see how far our funding is going to go.
Is Marjorie Turtle on that list?
Part of that is,
Right,
yes.
okay,
Yep,
because
on
I
the
know that's
firehouse,
been an
everything.
issue and.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
we have a couple spots that are in complete disrepair. That's gonna, we're gonna have to kind of spearhead a little bit at a time.
I know with that particular project, there's a little more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, yeah,
it's
the
drainage.
drainage part of that, stuff like that. We have the other side of, they call it Lower Grove. That is been pothole ridden now for, the past 10 years. It just keeps on bubbling up and bubbling up.
Yeah.
Straw Lane is another one that we just did a bunch of work on 4 or 5 years ago, that the road is just going to hell in the handbasket already. We're gonna have to look in with the town about the bridge on Straw Lane, because I think the bridge has a lot to do with why the road's cracking apart the way that it is. And a couple other, Pleasant and Griebel is starting to get pretty bad, but yeah, we have a couple spots that are really bad, and then a lot of our stuff is holding up pretty decent. I know I talked to Tim the other day, we had a complaint about potholes on Straw Lane, and the guys have been doing it at least once a month, going around and putting cold patch in and stuff like that, but a year that you don't have frost is absolutely terrible on the roads, because everything's constantly moving. There's water laying under the roads, nothing's frozen to hold everything together. So this year is gonna be a very bad spring for potholes, and we try to keep up with it as best that we can, but sometimes you just, it's
Cold
not
patch
gonna
only
happen.
does so much, yeah.
It's a Band-Aid. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on the moisture underneath it, and we try our best. But there are a lot of spots that we know that are pretty bad that we try to keep an eye on more often than not. Otherwise for streets, last year we talked budget time about the excavator bond payment being done this year. And we talked about rolling that bond payment into a new bond, for a new dump truck because our 2008 GMC 3500 that we have is getting to the point where it's not being used too much. It's still, everything's gonna go on it, but the more that we use it, the more that we spend on it. You know, we have had multiple bills from Napa for over $1,000 for parts here and parts there. It's just getting to the point that it's nickel and diming us to death. So I passed out everybody quotes from the Paula Ford, their state contract quotes. There's one for an F-350 and then there's one for an F-550. Because we haven't really weighed out all of our options on which one we would like to go with, either the 1 ton or the 1.5 ton. But the price that's in type on that is for just the cabin chassis alone, and then the pen writing is what the final price would be. So we're looking at in the 90,000s, which is nauseating at best. Because this, 3-4 years ago, you could have gotten it for $70,000. That's just absolutely insane to me. But that's how everything is these days. Everything's going up, and you just got to deal with it, I guess. But lead time on it is anywhere from 6 to 8 months. So I know that we still have to run numbers for bond payment and everything that won't come into effect until next year.
Right.
So we do have time to try to make the budget work with that and also get interest rates and everything like that on bond payments, but I just want to get the ball rolling. Because like I said, if it's 6 to 8 months, we need to do it semi soon if we need it, if we're gonna have it before next winter.
Right.
So, and with the way the supply chain issues have been going, I really hope that there's not a delay in that 6 to 8 months to make it even longer, so.
Okay, so what, because it looks here like there's $30,000 worth of add-ins.
Yes, so
So can I have a breakdown of what
Yep,
they're
so
buys?
the price that's on there from them, from the initial bid is just the cab and chassis price.
Okay,
So you get a truck that's just the cab, no dump bed, no, nothing,
just the truck?
just the truck, yep, just the truck and the frame. So that's the base price, so that's around around $60,000 for both of them. The other 30 is the plow and frame setup and the actual dump bed for the
You
pack.
need both.
Yeah. So that's the way that they break it down. The galleon box that's on there is the same stainless steel box that we put on the Dodge, which is more expensive than a normal metal box, but it's gonna outlast the truck at this point. These metal boxes that they're making now are punched out of steel and they rot, rust, everything like that. I mean, we put salters on the back of these trucks and run straight salt out of them, so they just don't last. The Dodge that we have, or the Ram that we have, was a 2014, and last year we put the brand new bed on it because the other box was rotting off. So in 6 short years of being a salt truck, the metal ones just don't last anymore. They're not up to par. So like I said, these stainless steel ones are a little bit more money, but they actually last.
The joys of living in the Northeast.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
Now, how much are we paying per year right now, the excavator bond? 8,000?
right around there.
It's 7 something.
76, I think.
Yeah,
7,600.
something like
So
that.
7,600. So we went. with
But that
five-
was on a $45,000 bond. This is
So if we
double
went
that.
for A 5-year bond, we have to make up about $10,000 per year. We have to pay this in 5 years, or we might have to extend it out anywhere to make it reasonable. Budget we have.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have a truck that's falling, it's not gonna be worth anything. It's a huge amount of depreciation.
We do have $10,000 a year going into the truck fund, so maybe we can slice off part of that and allocate it towards a new dump truck. So
What have
that-
you got coming down the road beyond this dump truck?
Honestly, within the next couple of years, maybe a couple lawnmowers. But really, our fleet is, I mean, within the past 5 years, we've done an almost complete turnover on all of our equipment that has
Okay.
obviously been, much needed, and we were working with.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm
2007.
not questioning that.
Oh, no, definitely. I'm
But
just
it's-
saying, like, turn of events, like, it seems like every 10 or 15 years, it catches up to us. So really, in the past 5 years, we've gotten the fleet, pretty much back up on the par to where if we get this new one, the oldest vehicle is gonna be 2014.
Okay.
Whereas before we were working with 2007, 2008, stuff like that, that has, not that many miles on it because we're just working here in the village, but run time and idle time and everything like that is through the roof. on
And I
those
know
trucks.
those mowers take EP
Yeah.
at the cemetery.
Yeah. Yep, so like I said, as far as, we got the new tractor, we got the new excavator, the skid steer, I mean, really, like I said, within the next 5 years, I would say a lawnmower or two, maybe, and that's
And the
about it.
lawnmower last time was what, 15, 20?
The more expensive one that we got for up in the cemetery, I think was 15 or 16, something like that. The zero turns that we get from down here, which are the oldest ones that we have, are maybe just over 10,000 at this point. They were below 10,000 a couple of years back, but I'm sure that they're over 10,000 now. So,
It's possible we could take that 10,000 that we've allocated towards the truck fund, swing that into the bond for the dump truck, and then maybe take anything that's surplus or left over from the DPW budget and allocate that towards the truck fund.
Right.
We can play with the numbers, but
I think it's gonna work no matter
And
what.
how,
Like I
how's
said,
it
I
doing
think
labor wise though?
everything should be good. The plan that we have in effect right now has been working,
So
so
it'll be okay given this.
I believe so. Yeah, and that, like I said, Tim's saying that allocated money that comes out every year for that fund that we set up last year, the year before.
I'm gonna be
has been
really fresh
working.
now and say we can't go with the leave, so we need to
Right,
know so.
right, yeah.
Okay.
No, 100%. Well, that's what this is, two completely separate things, where the labor on this side and that 10,000 that we're
okay,
putting
so it
away
doesn't-
every
it's not
year
gonna-
is, yeah, yeah, it's not gonna interfere with each other.
Could you get another quote from maybe Chevy or? do they
It's
offer-
state bid. Anything state bid down the pipeline is their,
Okay.
across the board, it's fair market value
Okay.
across the board.
So fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, I would have to ask the poll themselves, but I know at the beginning of 2021, a lot of places with COVID and everything like that were not giving municipality discount anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know if state bid overrides that, because you used to get like 10,000 off for
Right.
municipal, and I don't know if they're doing that anymore, so that's another price hike right there. But that's
Okay,
just
so that's, okay,
crazy.
yeah, find that out, cause that's huge.
Yep.
And,
But like I said, that state contract, we can't argue that price, we can't try to nickel and dime that, that's across the board, that's what
yeah,
the state
let's,
says.
so let's
that we
make
can
sure
pay.
we're still gonna get it.
Yep,
What
and
else?
that's just how we go about doing it, otherwise you have to go out to bid for this kind of stuff and advertise and everything like that, but NJPA and the state contract makes it so you can streamline the entire process and don't have to go through that kind of stuff, because it's what the state is allowing you to pay for it, and that's not a dime more than what they seem as fair.
Right.
So,
Well, that's good. I mean, it protects the taxpayers.
Oh, no,
you know,
100%.
it's-
yeah, and it makes our life a little bit easier too, instead of having 3 bids and, sealed and all that kind of stuff, it gets a little out of control when people are doing that kind of stuff, especially the county with all the trucks that they have. and
Oh, sure.
all that kind of, if they can go state bid, then it makes life a lot easier. So yeah, as far as that goes, I guess if we just need, however you guys want to do it, if you want to have approval to start running the numbers on bond information.
Yeah.
However we want to do that, so then we can start the ball rolling at least.
Okay, I think that's fair.
However you
Yeah,
guys want to work that.
absolutely. It makes sense to get the ball rolling on it.
Yep.
All right, let's go for the motion. Motion to, I'll make a motion to, begin the, the fuel. Oh, look at you.
And when you're spending 90,000 on a pickup, you gotta start talking.
Yeah.
That's true. The procurement of a new dump truck / snowplows /
Do we want to see what the bond, the
Yeah.
interest are
but
gonna be?
that's
That's what
what
I'm
we're
saying.
making, yes, to look
Okay.
into, get all the figures together, see what we're looking at, see what the best way to go is, that's what the motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye,
Now, if that happens and numbers work out within this month before next month, can we have approval to submit the order, or should we wait until next month to do a final
Yeah, we have to wait.
Yeah, we have to wait till next month. We just wanna get all of our ducks in a row, make sure we're
Yeah.
really giving ourselves time to digest
Right.
everything.
I just know
the
that the
numbers.
guy that gave you the quote, I don't know how long the quote is good for, you know what I mean? It could be only 30 days that the quote's good for, so I just wanna make sure I'm at it.
They will always tell you that.
Oh, no, 100%.
Yes.
Deal ends midnight tonight.
Yeah. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure so that I can come back and tell him exactly what we're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Exactly, that's fine.
Okay, so that's it for streets. Another quote, I'm just spending money left and right. You got another quote in your packet from Mel, about another pallet of water meters that we need to order. The price has gone up on those as well too, since the last time that we ordered them. But this is coming out of the ARP funds, Mel.
Well, we gotta make a motion to do that, but yes, that's where we have been. That was kind of what we agreed
So yeah,
upon.
that's
Yes.
where the money for that is coming from, but yeah, we're scheduling right now to, of course, upon approval, order this next pallet of 150 or however many kind of pallet. Just the regular residential meters. So that'll, be the next round. That's gonna take us another 6 or 8 months to put in. But we also are gonna be looking into getting an inventory of all of our 1-inch and over meters, which is where a lot of our revenue is gonna come back from, faster than just these residential meters, the schools, stuff that has anything bigger than a 1-inch meter. I'm gonna be working with Ty Sales on that to get a list together and make sure what we need to order for what places. So then we can start doing that too, but this one here is just for the regular residential meters, so then we can keep going with changing them out.
And just so everybody, it's a quantity of 144, that's what comes, and the price is $272 each. So that's where the 39,168 comes in here total, which we have the funding set aside to be able to do that.
Yep.
So, okay.
I'll make that motion. Use ARPA budget for that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that sums it up for water. Sewer, we didn't really have too much going on last month. They are still working on their punch list to close out the contract. There's still a couple things that they're working on, a couple of bugs that they're trying to get out, and some skating that they're working on. So they're not quite finished with that, but otherwise everything else is decent down there. We do have a DEC inspection tomorrow, so we'll see how DEC likes the progress of the new plant and all the new bells and whistles we have. So that'll be interesting. Otherwise, that's it.
Okay, well, that's segues to the public meeting. It's a little after 7:30, so does anyone have anything that they'd like to speak to in regards to, where's our first one here? The CDBG grant for the wastewater treatment plant?
Happy that we got the money. I hope we get more.
Yeah. Good comment, okay. All right, so we'll close the public hearing on that then. No one has anything else they'd like to ask?
I'll make a motion to close it.
I have a second. And could I get a motion to discuss, or to close, actually? Yeah, local law, number 1, to enact the property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers. Does anyone want to comment on that?
I do.
Yes, sir.
You just had some comment here in the beginning of the meeting about the county and other municipalities. Are we premature in adopting this prior to having one that's going to be acceptable, so to speak, to the tax department, so to speak, of the county, so it's uniform? Question.
Sure, that's a valid question.
Are we? Are we premature?
I don't believe we're premature because I think every municipality has a right to set their own standards. And I personally am in favor of the highest exemption possible for our fire department, for our ambulance workers. So.
And we're already one step ahead anyway.
Yeah, we've already been doing it, Gary, all along.
I'm just saying,
We're
they
making
talked
it-
about here, Patsy had said something about the county, they're trying to get a committee together to kind of be uniform. It's great, you want to be the highest, but I'm just saying it's going to be a little challenging, maybe not for the county. in terms
Well,
of
that's,
putting out the
that's up
text.
for the, to me, in my mind, that's up to the county to figure out, you know, we wanna do what's best for
That
our
was just my
folks.
question.
So, there you go. Thank you. No, that's a valid question. Thank you for asking it. All right. Anything else on that? Okay, could I get a motion
So move.
then? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll make a motion to adopt local law number 1.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just say thank you, Nick and the crew. I was down on Main Street right after the storm the next day and thought it might be a big mess, but everything was clear, and I talked to a few of the business people and they were very satisfied with what you guys do. So
Appreciate that.
thank you. You did a good job as you usually do. But this one was tough.
Yeah, that was lots of heavy snow. I just have one more thing that kind of falls into Nick's purview here, and it's a question for, I guess, Tim and for Bob, because you folks are on the committee for the cemetery, for the new sign. So we had a resident that reached out, and I'm sure there's more than one, asking why we can't just remove the sign that's up there now because they believe that it's very offensive. The sign that's up there now. I agree. I think it should come down. But
So I know as far as the committee goes that Rayma and Steve Lamont have met several times over the past couple of months to start talking about the wording for the sign, the new one. There's an individual who went up there who used ground penetrating radar to map out the cemetery, to actually locate where graves are, where graves might be, and that's going to be incorporated into the sign. So they're still working on the final wording, so it's not ready yet.
okay, but can we take the old one out?
See, I agree with you. The thing I feel though, is it worse to have no sign, so it's an unmarked cemetery?
Yes, I think it's better to have no sign than the one that's up there now. That's my opinion. What does it currently say?
Was it the color?
I need to be back. Colored section.
The colored section of the cemetery is what it says now, which I think is
Outdated.
racist, it's outdated, and it's offensive,
It's been
and
there
it should come
forever
down.
and ever.
No, I know, but it's
Yeah.
still, it's offensive. That's my opinion.
I can see, I don't know, going through some of our old signage, I don't know if we have any old Middleburgh cemetery signs, I can look.
Just to quickly
But if we
replace.
do, if we have any kind of cemetery marking, we could easily take that one down and just put one that says Middleburgh Cemetery for now until they.
Yeah, I mean, it should be all
I'm
one
with Tim that
cemetery,
it
not
should
a
be marked
segregated
something.
cemetery,
Yeah,
you know?
Because I don't want to be unmarked either.
Right.
yeah, like I said, we can look through our old signage and see if we have anything cemetery related.
Right.
Okay, we can do that.
So, what if we made a motion that depended upon finding replacement,
Mhm.
but we approve the moving?
I don't think that should be provided by the replacement. I think it's.
What is it gonna be called?
It's part of the Middleburgh Cemetery for now.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
okay?
what,
And when the
do we
new-
know what,
That's what the committee is working
Okay.
on now, to find an appropriate name for the cemetery.
Didn't they come up with something?
I think there was something on the email, but I can't.
And I think they were gonna reach out to folks too.
Yep.
You know, the African American community, and find out what the right way to be, so that we're not offending people.
because I have some of those green signboards
I was
still.
gonna say, we could
I
easily-
do, I can put letters on it and just put it up there temporarily, but I don't know what to put on it. I just give it to the village to put up there until they can do their sign, if you give me wording.
We'll discuss it. So, for the intent, the purpose of this meeting. I would like to make a motion to remove the sign temporarily until we can find a sign that's, where the new sign is ready. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll look tomorrow, like I said, if we have one, we'll do it. Right away.
Thank Yes, we have been asked several times about the possibility of moving the village meetings to another location within the village because of the accessibility issues that are currently going on with, this whole building. And, we're very hopeful that once we get the lift in, we won't have those issues, but it's gonna be a while before that happens. So, would like to do, I guess, a roll call vote to see, we'll go around and ask what people's thoughts are and what they think in regards to moving the village meetings. How many people would like to keep the meeting in the village hall?
My vote, yes.
Okay, so we have 3 yes, and how many people are willing to move it temporarily until the structures, the elevator is complete? So majority rules, so the meetings will stay here in the village hall.
But when we're doing construction, they have to move.
Oh, God, yes, yeah, everybody will have to move then, and the plan is to move folks over to the railroad depot. Yeah. We can have space over there, that's what, I mean, maybe there's a better.
Yeah, I don't know. Has anything else been discussed about that, Mel?
About,
Where to go?
I didn't hear you.
About the depot, moving to the depot when the building is under construction.
There's no bathroom
Right.
and there's no secure place to put records.
But so it's,
So we have to talk about that.
yeah, I don't know where that place is, even in the village, I don't know where that is, and we need to kind of really think about that soon.
We're going to be put out regardless.
Right, exactly.
When did you say construction was supposed to start?
Well, it's going out to bid shortly, so later
This
this. Yeah. Hard to see, you always, I don't wanna look after what happened with Gorge Creek, I don't wanna, no hard dates. In the spring, summer of,
Some year.
of
This
some
year.
year, yeah, we just don't wanna give a false expectation.
Bids are going out.
The bids are going out, yes. They are, and part of that, the lift will be an add-on to the, I'm sure this is technical name for it, food bid. That will be part of it, because that's a whole separate issue. All right, does anybody have anything else that they would like to bring up, discuss, talk about before we adjourn? Okay, we need to, before we adjourn, we need to make a motion to approve and authorize the records destruction sheets 1 through 4. And what do those involve, Mel? What is it that you're?
A ton of parking tickets.
Oh, okay. 1906
Horse petition.
A horse petition? Well, that's funny.
There was a whole, I don't
Hello,
know.
it's Bob.
Yeah,
It's Bob.
yeah. I'm on. I lost the picture. There we go. Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, I think you're okay, Bob. I don't think anyone's talking to you now.
Okay. Okay, good.
There was a bunch of anticipation notes. I don't know if they borrowed money at the beginning of the year and then paid it back. But they just said amounts on it, not even what it was for.
What year?
Oh, they're on here, 1960s mostly. There's nothing in them that would need it. So I'm assuming maybe they borrowed money before they collected their taxes and then paid back the anticipate. I don't know, but they didn't say why. Just said they borrowed it.
What's the the statute, like how long do we have to hold on to financial records?
Oh, for the 6 years.
Well, we're way beyond the 6
Well,
years.
while we're trying to get the safe cleaned out, it didn't get done for.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get as much cleaned out of that safe before we go under construction, that would be good, with all the less. we'll
There
have
is
done.
a ton of records still up there that need to go to the town,
Okay.
but I know they're kind of in limbo right this second, but somebody needs to maybe talk to Wes about it.
Okay.
Or
they would have
Mike-
extra room.
Mike Gunter, I mean, we've discussed it before, but nobody came over to look at them. And I can't destroy them. They would have to, if they're of no value, which I don't think they are.
Okay.
They would have to decide that.
Okay.
So I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, number 16, a motion to approve Clerk Laraway to pay the National Grid bills through National Grid's online portal.
Otherwise, we have to start writing one check for each account. It has taken Becky and I 3 months. They cashed one of our checks and only credited one account for $45.99. So this has been a nightmare.
Okay, so this will definitely make your life easier.
Well, it'll make it straight. I mean, sometimes it takes a general check and credits a sewer account, and how do you get that undone and corrected? It's been a nightmare. And this isn't the first time it happened, and she basically told us too bad, too sad.
Oh,
And they hung up on Becky because they said they didn't have enough time to go through the accounts and fix it.
Oh, good customer service. Excellent. All right, we get a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye,
And number 17, can I get a motion to amend the budget to include CHIPS revenue in line item A3501 for $61,178 for street expenditures?
So moved.
All in favor? Oh, second. All in favor?
aye.
All right. Is there anything else on here?
I think the only thing we missed was actually scheduling the public hearing.
Yes, we need to schedule a public hearing. Okay, so,
What's the first Monday of April, Mel?
Third.
yeah, let's just do it then.
At 7:15?
Sure.
Sure, I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else? Right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
How much money are we talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was like a yearly thing. So it made me think they borrowed the money and then paid it back after they collected taxes. Because if it were the firehouse, it was the firehouse.
I don't know, but that's what's going on back there.
No, because there's like that one was cemetery. That was just, these are just capital notes with no description in it.
I paid my mother's bills. I accidentally sent the Verizon bill to NICEAG, the Verizon check to NICEAG, and NICEAG check to Verizon. NICEAG attached the Verizon bill. Written out to Verizon. Yes, yes.
This is
Yes.
horrible.
So,
Then
but
I opened them, I got them, we got them this time, and I'm like, they still didn't. I can't find mine.
And Verizon sent me a form letter. It's like, you screwed up, we shredded the check. NICEAG,
We got our money.
even though it's like,
How do you
it
do
was
that?
made out to Verizon.
Because they just, imagine the back of check.
And exactly, it's like, too
Have a
bad.
good night, Bob.
And then.
Good night,
then-
Tim. Good night, folks.
So my mom died, the house is vacant, they were telling me